So hello and welcome once again to the Elsevier Spotlight series. It's been a year since we released our first video interviews for our retail sales partners around the world. While the global community continues to adapt to life with COVID-19, much has changed in the last 12 months. There have been ups and downs as countries have weathered the pandemic storm. And while there are still real battles being played out in many parts of the world, we are seeing a tentative return to business. The Frankfurt Book Fair is going to be taking place in about 3 weeks' time. And as we prepare to go for our first on-site event in over 18 months, I wanted to touch base once again with Peter Eichhorn, our VP for Retail Sales at Elsevier. Hello, Peter, and welcome.
Yeah, hello, Fiona. Good to speak to you again after such a long time.
Long time no see. We still haven't actually seen each other in person in that time, but we have spent quite a lot of time on Zoom. So Elsevier has made the decision to attend the in-person event in Frankfurt in 3 weeks' time. And I know there's been a lot of discussion across the industry about really taking part this year. And we actually made the decision to go. And I'm wondering, what were the main drivers at Elsevier as we came to this decision?
Yeah, I think that there is a certain extent where you want to show your face and want to show representatives on an international event. Again, you know, because we still consider the book industry super important for our results. It is a major event that we still want to support. And of course, you know, it fits also to our overall strategy to show our face to the customer, even if it's reduced. And with the safety measures we see in Central Europe with the vaccination rates it's going through, so we also thought it's reasonable to be there and at least to have the Central European team to represent overall Elsevier at a, of course, smaller booth, where we also will try to apply all the safety measures. We will apply the safety measures that are being made required by the book fair authorities as well as the German government at that time.
It's certainly a really positive step I see for us to be attending Frankfurt, and I'm really looking forward to even being there for a day to see our customers who are there, also to catch up with colleagues and with peers in other organizations. It is actually a unique event, and I think it's a very positive first step, and I'm glad that people are making the effort and that also there are very responsible measures being put in place to keep everyone as safe as possible. We have to take these first steps, but do so in a responsible and cautious manner.
Yeah, and even for me, it's the first real business travel within the last 18 or be it 20 months. I even not able to count it. So I was quite excited to book my hotel in Frankfurt first time. And me, as some of our colleagues, we had to deal with finding our credit cards again and all of these things. But really, we're looking forward to see our customers, even though we are not yet completely sure who is going to attend. And as we said, the group of people we're sending to Frankfurt is much smaller than it used to be, and we try to manage the occupation in the stand with the pre-booking systems. So whoever is really keen to meet us, and we are keen to meet as many as possible people, but it would be good to pre-book an appointment. So reach out to your local account manager if you plan to go to Frankfurt, and let us know when you come and potentially which topics you have. There will be attendance also from our credit control teams, so different departments in Elsevier will be able there to speak for what needs to be done.
That's great news. Stepping back from Frankfurt just for a moment though, the last year we have seen continued sort of challenges related to COVID, but not just related to COVID. And I'm just wondering what your feelings have been around that and how the industry has been resilient.
Yeah, it's really interesting. If we compare it to 2020, we see a massive revival of books. Yeah, so of course we are more or less on 2019 levels in some regions above, in some regions below. It has quite shuffled the whole situation in universities. So in certain countries and continents, we still have COVID impacts, and the back to university periods are starting later. Students are still homeschooling, but we have seen really the importance of books, and potentially again the importance of books, with really interesting effects, leading into a situation where paper is short around the world. Yeah, so because publishers try to print books and we don't get hold of paper. Printer labors are short, for example, in the United States. So even if a printing plant has paper and they want to print a book, they potentially run out of workers because they found better jobs during the pandemic in other factories. So we are short in that perspective, and the world is short on containers. So even if you try to ship the books around the world, then it takes you now 10 to 12 weeks, where it before the pandemic, we used to have 4 to 6 weeks shipping times. But we can really say that, especially for the international products, our teams are really set up well. So with all the uncertainties and volatilities, they do a good job in making our product available. And in the same time, we use that opportunity to put more and more products on a print-on-demand path, where we also increased our printing facilities around the globe so that we lesser ship books around the world. We rather print them where they are needed. So now we have also printing facilities in continental Europe and not only in the UK, for example.
Yeah, the challenges across our feeder industries have been really interesting, and I sort of have been aware of them in the national press and the international press, but I guess it's something that hasn't really been that evident in my day-to-day working life, because the teams within Elsevier have actually been putting in place measures to ensure that our supply chain is not as disrupted as it could be.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is also, in certain countries in Latin America, this is very evident. We see that the supply chain issues are not only on us, they are also on the counterfeiters and pirates. So we started to sell even more original products because they obviously had problems with their supply chains and their reprinting. But in the same time, also in Europe and in other markets, we see that, for example, the access or the limited access students have to public libraries led into higher purchases of individual books. Yeah, so instead of having to carry the risk on not having access to kind of public available lending books, students trended to buy more books themselves. In France, we have had an initiative from the governments to subsidize even book purchases with a thing they called cultural pass, where students could invest some dedicated money in buying more book product, what really led to nice uptakes on their private libraries, they have at home. So it's not all negative, and I think it strengthens actually really the old school printed books business.
In many respects, there has been a lot of resilience seen in the market, and our booksellers have weathered a lot of these storms. I know a lot of them have found it very tough. When we spoke a year ago, we talked about potential mitigation and the actions that they could be taking. As at that point, we had no idea that a vaccine was really going to be readily available, and we were facing another winter of lockdown. We have seen a lot of adaptation on the market, though. What has particularly impressed you on some of those initiatives?
Yeah, I think what was particularly impressing is the speed and the creativity booksellers, local booksellers, took up the opportunities on selling online, using social media as promotion for their own services, getting in touch with end users, with target groups, and even took up offers that we made. I think also your group, Fiona, was extremely helpful in setting up webinars and training sessions for booksellers to enable them and discuss with them how to best use social media, how to use the collateral we would make available to booksellers to then go and promote this again back on social media, but also in the same time receive trainings about selling ebooks and going into other formats to really serve the customer in the place where they are if they are not on shop. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, from my own perspective, I've been delighted to see that level of engagement from our retail partners, that willingness to really try and understand the opportunities that social media can offer them, for example, or if they're wanting to build out their own e-commerce services. I think that's something that's very, very positive. And we as an organization are very happy to share that information. And I think we still have those webinars and things available on our retail hub if people want to return to them, or to get any of our resources that we share. We can certainly make those all available to people.
Yeah, and every account manager, every local account manager will absolutely be happy to guide every of his customers either into a more detailed conversation with the supporting teams on our end, or even at least to send a link for the webinars that we recorded, I think, to be able to watch them again.
So to return to Frankfurt, we are going to start seeing people face to face going forward. But I think that one of the consequences of the pandemic is that it's forcing organizations like Elsevier to look at its social responsibility more broadly. And I'm wondering what sort of impact you think this is going to have with our ongoing business and interaction with our customers.
Yeah, it's fair to say, and I think I said this already when we met last time, it's fair to say that we all made the experience that a good amount of interaction between vendors and clients, suppliers and customers can take place virtually. Yeah, so
we've seen what's been possible really in the last 18 months.
Absolutely, you know. But also we start to experience that there is a difference when it comes to just the on-demand problem solving, ordering processes. So the business as usual, easy. Yeah. In a moment you come to discuss a bit more openly and have a bit of a workshop, you want to be creative, then I must also say it's difficult to 100% replace the personal interaction. Yeah. And we really try to find a better balance to build that both. Yeah. So what we used these last 20 months for, I would say, is to strengthen relationship within Elsevier and to build international teams. So even if you're in a place where that's a bit far away from the person you would like to meet, we do have ambassadors and strong internal communication to be able to represent Elsevier at that place. So for all international customers, as many as would come to Frankfurt, for example, there will be ambassadors from the European team, from the UK, from Germany, of course, who would be able to speak to the client in the name of Elsevier. And we will always have a backup with the teams in Asia, in North America, in other countries in Europe, to quickly talk and even dial them in via a Zoom call or so, to be able then to have also a kind of a face-to-face blended meeting at the book fair. And that is also what we plan outside of the fairs to drive even further.
I'm pleased to hear that we're still prioritizing that personal connection with our customers, because I do agree with you, it is very important to get that customer understanding. There are certain things that you really pick up more effectively when you're visiting them on site. But that initiative to make sure that we've got that local leverage, we've got that network of partners who are working with us, I think will help reduce our carbon footprint, because that is something that is also important strategically as an organization, that we are doing our bit for climate change. And we signed up for the climate pledge, and we are making efforts to reduce our business travel. But a lot of that is to do with the big long haul trips that we're talking about, and asking questions about, is internal travel really needed?
Yeah. No, and I must say, I am personally very proud that Relex, the mother company of Elsevier, has joined the Climate Pledge initiative. Yeah, and the objective is, of course, to become neutral, CO2 neutral at the end, I think, of 2040. Yeah, but also with the whole pandemic situation, we were almost at that point last year. So what we plan to do is to reduce our business-related travel until 2040 by 50%, based on the 2019 status. And of course, even more the internal travel that will be achieved by more Zoom meetings, and reducing the internal travel almost immediately by 70%. Yeah. So there are certain initiatives within Elsevier. Future of Work is one of them. The Climate Pledge is something else. And there will be an internal carbon footprint dashboard available pretty soon, so that every employee can see where we stand, to drive that forward.
That's brilliant. So you certainly won't be flying to Frankfurt then in a few weeks' time. Are you taking your bicycle?
But maybe, yeah, mein Lastenfahrrad. So, but we'll see. It's still 300 kilometers for me to go, but potentially I pack my car full, so at least then the fuel is invested good. No, but really, the good thing is also there will be further support for meeting customers in person where it's necessary and where we show it, and there's not too much administration around these approvals. So that is still seen a priority.
That's great. Well, thank you, Peter. I look forward to seeing you in Frankfurt. I hope you have a successful book fair.
Thank you very much, and great to learn that you also plan to join us for a day. So then let's meet us there, and welcome to everybody who wants to visit our stand.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
Thank you.